the conversation, I wanted to remind everybody as I speak inspirationally. So there are some bullet points, but nothing else is drafted in how it's going to go. So we'll all be participating. And these words, I have to walk as soon as I'm done. They're in action for me. So it's for me just as much as it's for you. So are any excellent mathematicians in this room? Number whiz? No. Yeah. It'll come up later on. I have no idea what's going to come up, but it'll come up later on. I would be touching about the principle number 2 that we recited in the beginning. And it says we believe the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. I don't think there is a lot to be said, but it can be extended as vastly as possible. But anything that is happening as it should be. So we use that precept, we definitely reduce or take the resistance or pressure or pointedness out of it. Because everything is just divinely led. As humans, we get to measure what the definitions are. And from different people, different measurements of definition apply. So just wanted to say we'll be coming back to this declaration of our principle back. Now, as in the Spiritualist church, in this setting, here we also believe the life goes on after we transition. That is our declaration number 4. And while I was reciting this, all I was hearing in my seat was we are all alive. On the physical side and also on the non-physical side. So those that are yet to be born in a human manifestation, even they are alive somewhere. And a part of that aha just went through my own space of saying, there's a beautiful thought that takes possibly a fear out of death and dying and life and other aspects of it, because we are all alive. And even in our worst moments, we are still alive. And that speaks for itself in some ways. So think about that. So, how many of us are coffee and tea drinkers? Most of us, all of us. So this morning you woke up, you got out of bed, did you fix yourself a beverage?
Yep.
Yes, you did. And how many of us you drove yourself here? Most of us. So your vehicle was waiting somewhere in the parking lot, garage, outside, driveway. You got into it and then you brought yourself here, right? That's that. So when you got here, you had to come through, find these doors to get into this space, right? And that leads to the natural law of action. And this also ties into somewhere in midsummer, I made a statement that says everything is present at all times, and we have to just bring ourselves into alignment to have an experience. And all things meaning all things, not all good things. All things meaning all things. Just for example, the rainbow is hanging out somewhere just for the right conditions to happen so that we can visualize it, right? The part of that is the natural law of action says no matter where we are in our lives, we really cannot move into the next spheres without action. Having a thought is a subliminal action in its own way, but beyond the thought there has to be a physical action which perpetuates the motion. So if you understand some laws of physics, inertia or energy is always getting created. Even in this conversation, I'm tapped into energy somebody's that's working here. And you are receiving the parts of that energy. You're sitting in your own energy that's creating your own thoughts as you listen to my voice. Some of you somewhere would possibly disagree, which is my enjoyment, because it's your own journey, right? But that stimuli is creating that process of creating your own thought. That you might go out there and work with it through the day, and it might manifest in the most divine way possible. But the natural law of action says, I have to participate. What brings you in this room is a participation itself. You're seeking something somewhere. I feel like there's a very small amount of people that are just here because. I think we're all here because we're seeking. And that's the part of the beauty of the movement of action is something brings you here only to discover what that is. And like Emma was saying in some parts of our meditation, you get to experience your own version of it, whatever that is. And that's just how it is. Because if you think in terms of the energy is manifesting in all human forms. But some are really excelling at things, and some are mediocre, and some are feeling they're not going anywhere. So the movement is still the law of action. The second law that I would like to talk about, and I'm finding myself into this bigger mixture of it because we're just starting the year, and that next law is the natural law of polarity. What does that mean? It is different than natural law of opposition or natural law of positive and negatives. Polarity is skewing in one direction, polarizing it in one direction. So, how many of us here had life circumstances that we knew were not the best for us, but we kept showing up with the unkind polarity? Has anybody experienced that? Right? But it's still, you're putting an action into being present there with whatever it is, not working or trying to survive out of it, get out of it, but it moves in its own accord. But the natural law of polarity says, you have to inch your way into the opposite end of polarity, then create that skewed polarity to keep escalating upward. So if you think in terms of two gramophones stuck on opposite ends, it is a version of polarity. It pulls you in. You have to be either centered or you're going to be in one side or the other side. It's a visual connotation for you to understand. So if you're finding yourself, I'm showing up with negative emotions, my de-escalated sense of feeling within myself, am I really going to speed up to get out of there? Most likely not. It's going to probably keep you there or even give you a little more setback until you figure it out. That beautiful saying that says, the lesson is not done until it's done, until you've got through it. You cannot dodge a lesson. I'm learning over my last 4 or 5 years. So I'm choosing to go through it rather than bypass it, because I would not want to do it. When I turn another 5 years older, I have to repeat that lesson to get what it's supposed to give it to me. So I'm going to tighten my belt and go through it. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you. Yeah, there are plenty of lessons from the last year that everybody's still spiraling in and out of. Don't try to mask it. Don't try to band-aid it. Go through it. That is the shortest route. Because if you understand, point A to point B is the shortest route. If you create point A, B, and C, then it becomes a longer route. You go through it, it's going to bring you what you need. So if you show up for yourself on that mindset, I'm going to go through it, you will know there's a strength that is of a different caliber that will keep you moving through that space. We have those examples around us, people that show tenacity, courage, strength, perseverance, that go through things and be successful. So the law of action and law of polarities are all these laws are mixed with each other. Nothing is independent. But at the same time, the beginning of the year is to catch yourself where your inventory is. I was also enjoying those little boxes, completed surveys. Can everybody see this? Surveys doesn't truly mean feedback. Surveys also could mean we're doing an inventory check. We're just doing survey where we are. And I think we're in the beautiful part of our life where we do some action-oriented surveys and see what we are wanting in our lives. So complacency is probably not the best thing for anybody. Unless you're medically challenged, complacency is not best for everything. This purpose of this human life is about growth and being more than that. And a part of that is how do we get to it. My route is definitely different than anybody else's route. And I'm bringing these part of simple pieces of information so that you look at yourself. It's not like, oh my God, he has no clue what he's talking about. I've lived my version of life just like you're living your version of life. So part of that is how do you put your actions in pursuit of going into the higher side of the polarity to keep you moving, keep you motivated, keep you charged to do more things. So I was here in November. I'm back here today. What I will tell you, some of you were not here, I literally had not created significant life last year. I'm a very active person with my camera in my car. It goes everywhere with me. Last year when I did my little inventory check, I did not do anything other than backyard and just spits of work. So I have no idea. And I'm finding that I'm away from it yet. So I've been doing same things, but the momentum has not built up yet. What I'm wanting to say to you, if you have spiritual practices, obligations for family, home, bills, etc., if you are in that low-lying space, you will spit yourself out of the momentum. Sitting in the home chair feels very comfortable and safe. Setup of the environment is fine, but it is also not the best place to be. The best place to be is stand in the middle of those bushes and see what shows up. Just saying. If you're allergic to bees, do it at your own risk. See, my disclaimers follow because life happens. Life happens. I don't have any problem with bees or anything wasp or any yellow jacket. But my part is we're all different. But the law of action has been very much stimulant for me in the month of December. I have moved my energy field onto the other side of polarity. And it's already manifesting in its own way. I get up excited. I'm really in the uproar of finish my to-do list that I've set up. What about you? Is the same old good enough for you? And I know somebody would say, you've not lived life. Yes, I have not. But life is not over for you either. Think about that. And this is not about control. You really honestly cannot control anything. Everything is spinning in its own perfect way. So you really are not controlling anything. The only thing that is manageable is to respond to anything that is happening to us, or we are participating with whatever is happening out there. That's the only space is available. So how many of us think we'd really had a wonderful momentum in 2025? Makes you want to take a deep breath, right? But that's just also a fact in the thing, since we are all interconnected. These life events, global events do impact us, even though we're not directly in the path of it. It's then the game of the energy. Energy just pulls you in and out, throws you, spits you out like nobody's business. So, why is all this important? Because if you are a spiritual being pursuing your version of spiritual momentum, you are feeling something in your own unique way. Those living folks that are not physically here have gone through this similar version of life in their own fashion. Nothing more or less than where we are. But they definitely give us a springboard to what not to do. It may not have worked out for them. They have given us inspiration. How staying put with your goals and dreams is very important. So, who would like to understand your momentum with your guides and angels is no different than your family members that are on the other side? I sat in a wonderful space of creating how does this work. And all I could understand is this is set up as a corporate environment. The world of spirit is set up as a corporate environment. When you go through that channel, you meet the door greeter, you meet the receptionist desk, you have a check-in of review what you are here, your paperwork. And then you're going through the executives, the managers, and there's an hierarchy over there. We're still energy, we're still souls, but there's an hierarchy. So the progression is then where somewhere we find our family members, and then there's our guides, and then there's our angels, and there are archangels, and there are more ascended beings there, and there's divinity itself. And I was excited because it made it so easy for me to understand, based on my own journey of vibration, allows me to catapult myself to meet wherever I am in that energy field. So elevating your energy is the name of the game. That also comes with an action. So anybody in this room, some of us, has gone through any physical therapy appointment, occupational therapy appointment? Right? That's one thing. Part B of that thought is, anybody has done any physical manual labor of lifting bricks and mortars and sacks of concrete, etc., without having any preparation for it? Emma was talking about her bicycling marathon. I've only done a 152-mile run on a bicycle. And what I'm bringing up in my own amusing ways, until we are pushed, we do not know what muscles we have. Understand that? And the physical therapy and the occupational therapy will make you realize, oh, I haven't used this one. There's something over here. I'm just saying is, you have to push. You have to push to strengthen that muscle. Meditating, contemplating, philosophizing, even psychoanalyzing, everything is action. There's some action that's happening. You're stretching that muscle for accuracy, consistency, and so on and so forth. So find yourself which muscles you want to strengthen this year. What are you wanting to work with? So within those examples, you know that one other beautiful saying is, Rome was not built in a day. So would somebody with a physical fitness would say, my body didn't show up like that the next day, right? Everything is progressive and incremental in that nature. I didn't turn 52 just yesterday. It took me so many years to get to this point. But at the same time, the aspect, the desire of being better or improvement or having better outcomes of life, better relationships, etc., is something that needs a conscious act of making an action in that direction that elevates everything. Now, the other vantage point of that is, I'm here gung-ho about my energy. You might be in your own little pity party over there. What do you do with that? Have you experienced that? You went there someplace very excitably and you, oh my God, it didn't turn out so good. Right? But you have also been there, you were not feeling so good, you went somewhere, the energy was high and elevating. That exchange happened and you left feeling better. So even if I don't feel I'm effective, your energy is going to respond to these words and conversation to create your own effectiveness. That's not my job. My job is to be present in this action, this act of being here and sharing my space with everybody that is here. So think about that, because not everything will go your way, not everything goes my way. There have been plenty of times I stood up, had no clue how these bullet points are going to tie in together. But this aha of exploration has always kept me moving. And I think it will help you move as well. So how are you going to shift your 2026? 100% tomorrow? So what would be a wonderful, magical ratio? That's where the mathematics question was. So if I say it very in a simple way, if we desire to make 1% improvement at a given day, how does it stack up in 365 days? I had to look it up. I'm not a math genius. It turns out to be 3,758% growth just by elevating ourselves by 1%. And if you're lazy enough, do it by 0.5%. You'll still see more than 100% growth by the end of the year. Just saying. I have my lazy moments. I've enjoyed my chair last year. I'm splitting with it. It's not my part of life this year. And I'm doing it very consciously. The chair is right there to remind me. That's a magnet. But then I have other chair that is my productive chair. That's a magnet too. I'm shifting my energy and mindset to be there and showing up for me. And that's my conclusion part of the thought is, don't show up for me, please show up for yourself. Most of the time we are the rescuers by wild imagination. And when it's time to show up for yourself, you are missing in action. Show up for yourself. Take that action. Let that be that 1%. I'm going to show up for me. So when you sit in your meditation, when you sit in your healing, developing your mediumistic skills, psychic skills, professional skills, show up for yourself. And I truly hope you don't show up for the dollar amount at the end of it. Show up for yourself will last you a lifetime. The dollar amount will make it a shelf life. You'll have to continuously work to keep it incrementally growing. So please show up for yourself this year. What does it mean? Not sitting in this chair. Show up with your own support in your head. Show up when you're not feeling the best. Show up when life has beaten you up at the end of the day. You still have to go on for a few more hours. Show up at that point. Be present with yourself. That's the big ask I feel is for this year. You have to show up for yourself. The other 1% could look like it. I will do one thing different every quarter this year, let alone every day or every week. One different thing, I'll try something different. That's also action. It's a stimulant to create new experiences. But still, show up for yourself first. So, I want honesty with this answer. Between waking up and walking through that door, how many of us had gone through any self-defeating thoughts? 1, 2, 3 honest people here. I feel all of us have gone through that. And I'm including everybody because sometimes the body is saying something different and the mind is saying something different. But please show up for yourself. It's okay. I had a struggle this morning. I didn't want to wear this jacket. Did not. Absolutely not. So I had a vest that's in my car, and I drove it here to see how I feel. But as my choice of showing up for me, this is how I choose to show up. Doesn't make me better than anybody else. Doesn't make me different than anybody making a different choice. But that's my choice for me. It suits me. It nurtures me to know that I'm in a professional capacity standing here. But that's those little things of choices I'm talking about through those actions. Just small things will shift your perspective. All right, one more bonus, please. Everything is relational, or everything is a relationship. If you think this is not a relationship being created, think again. We have bonded with each other's energy in those last few minutes, and this has created a relationship. You will carry my energy along with your day, and I will carry your energy along with my day, perhaps all my lifetime in my situation. So part of that is how I show up is also my personal responsibility to be there authentically and genuinely be a part of any given energetic space. And within that relationship, I have a relationship of having a bad day. But being authentically present with myself is okay, rather than masking it with a smile or something. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And that's being another action to take. Be authentically yourself at any given point in time. So we'll change the script to say the existence and personal identity of individual continues after the change called that our last principle. So whatever we are is a clue when I die and I come through a medium as a messenger or communicator. You would probably remember that guy that wore that little black shirt and a tie and a blue jacket. He talked his head off, didn't make any sense, right? He had a different funny accent. There are things, but what I'm bringing up is the continuity goes on. From a physical perspective, we are remembered as we were in our lives. And when we are communicating from the other side, we seldom make any different impression unless we really spiritually get elevated. There's momentum. We were talking about those vibrational points. So when you cross over, you see a review of life and you say, oh, I'll do it differently. And you move with a different choice because that choice is available on the other side. That's the only way you will say, no, he's floating in galaxy number 43. You would now have no idea who that is, right? So somewhere in our communication of this communication or existence, we have to retain some imprints of ourselves so that we can make sense to our family members. So just remember how you want to be remembered. You don't have to mask it. As long as you are genuine and authentic, that love is unconditional at that level. It doesn't have to be anything else. That love becomes unconditional automatically. By default, it is that. Be authentic, be yourself. Just the way you are, you're absolutely remarkable and perfect. So think for yourself, how would you like to proceed with 2026? That 1%